Hey guys, so I just wanted to show you how I do some line work for my sketches. So sketches are always going to be really rough, and it's really fun to add lines, although it can seem a bit daunting because sometimes it changes that cool look of a sketch. So I'm going to use black, and I'm going to use one of my brushes called Inkin. And there's some stock brushes. I can't remember which one I derived this one from, but I'll just make a new layer and I'll just name it lines, and I'll show you what this brush looks like. So my brush, Inkin, so it just pressure sensitive. So when I press harder, and that's pretty much all it is. There's lots of brushes that sort of mimic this, but what's important is the pressure sensitivity, which makes the Apple Pencil amazing. So I'm going to make my line fairly thin because I want to color him sort of cartoony, so I want my line to be fairly thin. Okay, so I'm on my new layer, and I have make sure you can see it. So I have my sketch really, really light. I can actually go lighter than this. Really, really light, because you want to be able to really see your lines clearly. Okay, so one thing that I do is when I do the eyes, I usually do that on a separate layer because sometimes I like to move the eyes around a little bit because I might find a better spot. So we'll do this line. First, because that's always black, and I'll make the brush a little bit thinner and get the bottom part of his eye. Okay. So now I can just add some details for the shape of his eye. Try not to swallow next to the mic because that can be kind of annoying, as people like to remind me from my older videos. Okay, that looks okay. So next, I'm just going to make another layer underneath this eye, and I'm going to do all the other lines on that. So I'm going to start up here and just do this sort of arch over his eye, but I don't feel the need that I have to stretch this whole section out, but I'm just going to remember that I have these lines here because I always do a little bit of a darker color for the eye socket. But I don't have to you don't have to trace every single line that you're making. But you can if it helps you, like for example this line here. That sort of helps me with the bridge of his forehead because it goes right to this horn. So next, I'm going to start here and just try to have a smooth line for his horn. So I just try to get all these lines really smooth. And clean, which they don't always have to be. You know, you'll figure out your own style, and it doesn't have to be this way. Actually, whoops. I'm just going to erase this a little bit because this horn is really big, so it would go pretty far around. So I'm just going to erase this a little bit. Another thing, this is very, very clean here. And I don't want it to be that clean. That's a little bit better. Or that thick of that teardrop shape. Nose. Okay. A little bit of a nose, kind of to show that nose over there. It's looking pretty good so far. So these lines I'm going to really, they're really thick, but essentially it's just kind of cleaning these up. And I don't really need to press that hard, because I don't need the lines to be that thick. I'm probably going to color them in anyway. But you just want to get all these nice shapes. Oh, let's see. Sometimes I'm torn because, I want to make all these details kind of like this, showing that the ear is coming off there, but it doesn't always need all of those details. There we go, that's better. And as you can see, I'm sort of sticking in the middle of my sketch here. Sometimes I will go along the outside, but because I'm also in my head, I'm also trying to keep them somewhat a similar size. Okay, that looks okay. And now I'll just sort of trace the rest of him, but I'll speed this up. Okay, so that's pretty much how I line up my characters, and this is what it looks like without the sketch. And in the next video I will color him in.